And now we get to it. Winterbane has been enjoyable thus far in terms of Frozen Crown, their third album of what I'm entertaining publicly on this channel, this now being the 12th track in full that I've entertained, or in full in total. I've listened to all their works fully, with you, in fact, on the first 3 entries, and all have been strong. Embrace the Night, Far Beyond, and The Water Dancer, all different in some respects, though they do have that mainstay thread of what's made Frozen Crown so special in my mind as a signature, not only European metal talent, and many of you know how much I love that space, but in the Italian metal scene, them being a power metal group, if you're not familiar, again, I'm saying a good baseline, perhaps for some of you, this is going to be a first approach with their name. They're exquisite. I've loved humoring every work I've heard thus far, and we're reaching, the present day. It's been my ambition to go over a selection of tracks of what they have, mostly in the way of visualizers, this being the only exception, for good reason. Again, as I'll specify in a minute, for those of you, again, this is a first baseline interaction with their piece. But I went by the visualizers to give a good selection to their works for, in total, 4 albums, and also what I planned out for the newest release, and we'll get to that pretty soon. But stopping with Winterbane in terms of the third album, and taking a pause of it and entertaining some of its works, it's been very impressive to, again, get a good feel for the scope of Frozen Crown's talents, which I thought I had a good baseline set going in, but they've truly explored different facets of their capabilities with this album that I find pretty fresh, in my opinion. I mean, again, true to form. Mainstay, power metal emphasis, strong vocals on behalf of Giada, Jade Etro, and then the strong riff structures on part of both Fabiola, let me get the name right here, Fabiola Sheena Belomo. I'm still learning. Again, as of this album, they changed the lineup a bit in some of their members, and Federica Mondelli. And the percussion works pretty strong, the bass works great, the storytelling's amazing, the tales and the scope of their pieces, great atmosphere, very engaging works, right? And Winterbane, like I said, fully of what I've entertained from it, has proven that. I'm sure many of you would agree. From whatever angle you're coming from, if you're a long-time Frozen Crown fan, I know there's many of you, and maybe fresh introductions, and I know there's a couple of you that are approaching my content as well in that respect. I've seen your feedback as well on previous videos, though I presently have not yet responded. Maybe the time this video gets published, I will have. I'm working on it. I got so much to catch up on. I'm always late to the party, it seems, on everything. I'm always in a catch-up mode for the most part, but we're almost, towards the present day, so I can say that I'm finally now where most of you will be, at least in the newest album, and we'll get there. But presently with Winterbane, it's been wonderful, as I said. And all 3 tracks I knew would be good, right? Operating on faith of, at the time I started, 8 works. But this is the one I've been looking forward to the most, and some of you remember if you've seen my coverage before and what I've explained to Frozen Crown, how I entered in familiarity with them, right? As is true with many of the European metal talents that I consult, it's always through, it seems, this networking process. You find this associated talent, and then they lead you to somebody else. And that was the case of Frozen Crown. It makes sense because they are connected to 2 other groups. I'm part of not only Federico Mondelli's involvements, but also with connections from Giada. The Federico Mondelli connection as well, I'll get to Be the Wolf eventually. They're, from my understanding, Italian hard rock. And I have them on the list, aside from many groups as well that many of you have recommended, and we will get to them eventually. You provide a lot in the way of recommendations, and I'm willing to, God willing, spotlight every one of them. We'll see. We'll see. I mean, these videos are very much passion projects, and they take a little bit more time to edit in that respect, but I don't mind doing that for my favorite artistic form, and music for me very much is that. Especially on the shared experience model, I love having, though I can't see any of your faces, the interaction we have in terms of first listens, and I know, again, based on the comment section, we do have that engagement for the most part. It's been wonderful, and it adds such a nice dimension to entertaining fabulous works of art. But as I said with Frozen Crown, as I was saying, Be the Wolf, one connection. But remember where I started in familiarity. Volturian. Italian modern metal, again, for those of you, but that's also a first name. I've also spotlighted their works previously on this channel through 6 tracks off of Crimson and 2 off of their newest album, Red Dragon. Remember, that's what brought me in, with Giada, right? That was the connection. Through the collaboration on that album, Crimson in a Heartbeat, with their front lady vocalist, Federica Lanna. And I wondered, was there a crossover between the 2 at the time? Like, if they were in a crossover there, it would just make sense for one to be over here on Frozen Crown. And there is. Angels in Disguise. The one I've been looking forward to the most. Because I love listening to Giada. She's a very strong vocalist. But Federica, I've been a fan for a couple months now, a bit longer than Frozen Crown, because again, I started a little earlier with them. And remember, some of you might, if you've stayed with me for that long, maybe you approached with me on Volturian, you remember how I approached them with Federica Lanna. It was through, again, like I said, familiar to Europe. this networking process. With Federica Lanna, it was through her vocal talents and part of the Mortemia collaboration. Mortemia is the solo work of Morten Veland. He's a Sirenia artist. It's very much his one-man show act, and he's a Norwegian symphonic gothic metal artist in that respect. His model with previously the Pandemic Pandemonium sessions, which we also explored. I don't think I've finished yet. I'm still working on maybe covering a couple more of those pieces I haven't gotten to yet. But the currently evolving the COVID Aftermath sessions. Federica Lanna was the debut artist on that album, and the collection with her exquisite cover, in my opinion. I'm not a big Madonna fan, to be honest with you, but she sounds so much like Madonna, and the performance was so strong. It's symphonic metal too, which absolutely helps, as I specified. But her vocals, she's like a perfect Madonna fill-in. Like, she really is in the rock space. I thought her vocal talents were exquisite. And so then from there, I was like, okay, because I saw the Volturian connection, I gotta hear more from her. And I've been in love with Federica in terms of her voice ever since. She is exquisite. Like it seems almost all of these Italian female lead vocalists happen to be. Which is true, broadly speaking, of not only everybody Mortemia's collaborated with. And that collection, by the way, just as a minor plug, it's evolving beautifully. We're only 2 tracks in, not just of Federica Lanna, but very recently Uli Perhonen from a German-based group Snow White Blood. She's a German symphonic metal / operatic vocalist. You've never entertained her before. Again, listen to Mortemia. Highest of recommendations from me. You'll like him if you've never entertained Morten Veland's work in that respect. But that piece, you have to listen to it, as well as Federica Lanna's, but both are great. This album, we're only 2 tracks in, as I said, and it's evolving exquisitely, in my opinion. But I can't wait to return with Federica Lanna. I've been waiting for an opportunity. Again, I love Volturian, but Frozen Crown's been the newest entry, and I've been eagerly waiting, because again, I've known about this tie-in, right, between the 2 artists, and to hear them again, a bit of a reprisal, I guess, of In a Heartbeat. I'm sure different to its own respects of Frozen Crown, even in styling with a power metal emphasis, but I'm game, and perhaps some of you, as I said, you're approaching not just Frozen Crown, maybe my content as well, from a first introduction perspective. I think you're going to love Frozen Crown, as I said, but you're also going to get an introduction to Federica Lanna. And again, I can't recommend it enough. Entertain yourself with Volturian, and you will be pleased. If you're a metal fan, again, modern metal, I think you'll like it. And they got some similar sounds in part to Frozen Crown as well, but some of their own stylings, very unique in their respect. You're going to like them. I think we're going to like this together. Well, I mean, of course, Federica Lanna's here. And blended with Giada, perfect power duo in the metal scene. Let's listen to it for ourselves. Together for the first time, Angels in Disguise. I'm going to go ahead and cue up the song. We don't have a video for this one, but it's fine. You know, it's okay either way. And if there's somebody that's, again, as I said, maybe you're approaching my content from a first introduction perspective, you're not familiarized with my format. I do try and accommodate listener taste to the best extent that I can. So if you'd like to read along with the narratives of the pieces that I cover in the form of the lyrics, I will have those available for you in the video. And as soon as the song starts, or we initiate with it, you should see the lyrics pop up. Hopefully, if everything works. And, well, of course it is. I check everything. Anyway, I over-confirm. But I try to give complete takes for you. And I'm sure that'll make Angels in Disguise, if you're into reading along with the message of it, it'll make it extra special. But on a listen itself, I'm sure we'll all be in the stand back and embrace mode. Oh, nice. That sounds very Volturian in some respects. But it's got that power metal edge. Bit rougher. I mean, the songs from the last couple have gotten a little softer with each release. This is kind of like ramping it back up again. That's beautiful. I love that swing. It adds a nice flavor to a song, especially on the electronic side. Another long interlude. I like this in terms of the structure of Frozen Crown. Okay, here we go. Right? Still a build, okay. Here we go. Like, it has to initiate soon. Whimsical vibration. Oh, I love the overlap. I knew this one would be special. Switch for dominance. I love it. Great emphasis of song, getting the softer vocals, just embracing, and that is Federica's forte. She's definitely playing the softer role here. Isn't that amazing? Just sweeps you away. I hope they do more in the way of collaborations together. Great lyrical vision too. Love the storytelling. Okay, an instrumental break. See, this is why I love European music. It's just so special. I'm so glad I took this journey. Like, this is just the music I've been waiting to hear all my life. The personality, the vocal structures. It's amazing. Yeah, I love that keyboard effect. It adds a nice age dimension to the song, too. It kind of slightly dates it back in style, is in the American sense. I just really like it. Oh, key change, okay. Frozen Cradles have done anything, or maybe they have in the past. Yeah, they've done some. Not that often, though. Works. Federica's voice here. It's so dainty. I love it. See? I told you that'd be special. Man. I've said many times, I love music, especially in music coverage, I'm part of the connection it can form. And I've said, on routine occasion that being a metalhead, it's not necessarily metalhead, I know there's many of you, right? It's been great to meet many of you in that respect. In large part because of this, I just don't have this connection in my personal life with my music tastes. I mean, I think back to the way I was raised, and still there's these connections, of course, as many of you can attest to. You follow my music coverage on a more routine basis in terms of, maybe not every group, but a broad range of the groups I spotlight. I do cover a good number, from maybe smaller name artists to larger, more well-established names, whether it be in geography or diverse genres. I cover a wide pool, partly by intention. Again, you don't necessarily know where the routine and concentrated talents that you will revere so much happen to be until you first engage. So you have to maintain an open door, right? But as I said, years-long metalhead in this respect, and I just don't have this connection in my personal life. I was raised, when I think as a kid, I was raised on Christian contemporary and worship music, and from there I got into Christian rock, and I'm still very much into Christian rock these days, and many of you know I spotlight artists in that respect as well. But then I started looking over at some secular groups as well to see, who was available, and now I've crossed countries even. I've gone just beyond, hey, American range groups, let's expand even further. But I've been so impressed. But as I've said, many times, my music tastes and the appreciation of what I find, it does isolate me. In part, I've always been in my tastes, I've always had a bit of it more of an anomaly approach in my circles, right? I name off half the groups, or like 90% of the groups I listen to routinely, and no one knows the names. No one. There are a couple of people that I know that are in metal circles, but even then there's not as much recognition, especially in the European side, right? I would say, honestly, with like, besides maybe 2 or 3 groups, most of the groups I spotlight on this channel are not commonly shared in interest, though I try, and I do make an effort to perhaps make connections of, you'll like this music, get out of the Hollywood scene. Those of you that are my age and you're relating to pop culture, like, Hollywood music, for the most part, at least in my opinion, with very minor exception, maybe some artists I've spotlighted or ones incoming, Hollywood music just doesn't do it for me. It's the artistic stuff that bounds, again, a more individualized presence that always just clicks seamlessly. And so music like Frozen Crown, while I, again, pity that I don't have any connections in my real life, I deeply cherish the connections I have with many of you in the respect to the groups I've consulted and who we've enjoyed together. And Frozen Crown, man, I wish more people in my circles knew about half these groups. And again, I do try. Maybe one day they'll get it. I don't know. Oh, I make an effort, and I will keep doing that. Because, I mean, we enjoyed that song together, and as far as I'm concerned, they're missing out. Not just on Frozen Crown. But wasn't Federica Lanna exquisite? Especially for those of you, I would love to hear if that was the first introduction to her talents for you. And again, as I said, I highly recommend and encourage Volturian. You will like them. Take it from me. Again, 8 tracks I've consulted publicly on this channel. I've in fact listened to the entirety of Crimson. I'm waiting on Red Dragon to see if they release any more videos on part of what we can enjoy together, because that is the more recent of the debuts. I'm waiting to see before I listen to it in full. Maybe I will at some point. Who knows? But doors always open as far as I'm concerned to Volturian. I loved covering them. In particular, because, I mean, the group, broadly speaking, is great, but Federica Lanna just bedazzled me with her lyrics, and as I said, or not lyrics, but her, well, I mean, lyrics are good too, but the vocals. And as I said, the overlap, not just that verse where, Federica Lanna got to perform in isolation, and doesn't she just sound great? Oh, I love it. Especially with the mixture where Giada has a much fiercer vocal style. Federica Lanna, bit frailer and daintier by nature, with a very rich accent on part of both leading ladies. But oh man, I loved hearing her in the differentiation, like I said, in style. It's key though in that overlap. Whenever they blend, I'm just like, yes, soak it in. It's wonderful. It's just as exquisite as in a heartbeat. Different key, different energy. In fact, the song has a key change. Like I said, that's seldom employed in Frozen Crown's lineup, from what I've at least entertained personally, though many European groups play around with that, and I've covered many that fit that mold. And last key changes, they're sometimes a bit mixed for me. Sometimes I start a song and I'm like, oh man, I wish you'd kept it in the original key because it sounded great here, but then in several cases I'm like, nah, this change up, it works. The transition phrase works. For me, it was fine here, but it's the vocals, I think, that for me, I mean, the music, I think, give a good fit to it too, and it certainly sounded like it was going to map out that way, but the vocals are the great transitional lead into that, and it works so well. Again, I'm part of hearing the inclined range on both, and lingering at part, especially on the end of Giada and Federica singing together. I really want to hear more. In the way of collaborations, please make it happen. I need more, I was going to try to couple the names together and it just doesn't work. Federica? No, it doesn't work. Oh man, I'm trying to make him like a power rock duo, and I don't know. Maybe a name will come up to me at some point. Maybe you can think of a couple creative names that you could blend together like that. That's our spin-off project with Federica and Giada. I gotta hear more though, because Angels in Disguise, I told you that would be exquisite. There's a reason I was looking forward to that one. Again, Federica Lanna, as much as I love Giada, and as great as she was here, and again, the Frozen Crown mainstays, perfect. The harsher tone, I love that too, especially going off maybe a couple softer debuts from them. And the riffs are, of course, emphasized in the background of the track, but again, it's the vocal prominence here, but it's the immediate driving force. And when you have Giada and Federica together, key focus. You can't ignore it. It's just mesmerizing. I loved it. Man, I love European music. I love it. Just clicks. Man, that song was exquisite. I'd love to hear your thoughts down below if you do wish to disclose your perspective and the angle you come from in familiarity, not just, as I say, with Frozen Crown, whether you're a long-standing fan of theirs, I know there's plenty of you, or this is the first initial encounterance. But with Federica Lanna, how many of you entertained her before? How many of you are Volturian fans? I'd love to hear about that down below. Again, like I said, if you wish to provide feedback on that, I'd love to hear your familiarity and what your overall feelings on the track were. I'm imagining many of you are like probably swooning all over it as I am as well. Immediate re-listen. I can't wait to hear it. And as far as our journey is concerned of perusing through Frozen Crown offerings, that is the concluding work off of Winterbane. And I'm steadily now making my way to the present day, and I will be as of the new album, which we're going to spotlight next one. And again, another selection of tracks, very much so like Winterbane, through, with this time, Call of the North. I'm excited to hear more. I love Frozen Crown. I love spotlighting them, and this track for me, the other three were great, but this is the trophy winner. I suspected it would be. When you have Federica, and you have Giada as well doing the coupling vocal duo portion, you know it's going to be like the leading favorite. If you've heard In a Heartbeat before, if you've humored that one, you know what you're getting. And this was just as exquisite. Very different in personality, especially on that blend. I mean, again, just an exquisite blend, but intentionally contrasted, uniquely. And it gives this track such an interesting flavor, especially when each one is playing very different roles on part of the accent and prominence of their voice, and the stress of it. But it's still just so natural. And it's just as enamoring. Loved it, and I need to hear more. I want to hear more. If this is in the cards at any point, more collaborations. Make it happen. Thank you so much for watching this video. Before you bounce, feel free to drop a like and comment, subscribe to this channel with a ding on the bell, and share this video with your friends. And consider checking out the description here. There you'll find links to my other channels, as well as addresses to my other social media accounts and ways you can help support my work if you feel so inclined. May God bless you, and looking forward to when our paths cross again.